Hello, everybody, to our this week's pairing session. As I just mentioned, Paul, well, our specs are kind of happening in this problem, but it's a bit worse because they are actually failing for a good reason. So it's not just airspec magic. To give this a quick introduction, I've been working on an MR in GitLab UI, which is a bigger change, I'd say, to the way the GA table component works, to not waste time on all the details. It basically does two things. So currently we only have GA table, and this update will be an enhancement for GA table. It will look at props and slots that have been given to it. And depending on the props and slots, it will return bootstrap table, which is quite massive, or bootstrap table light, one or the other. So this is done to improve performance. And one important thing on this is those two components, they are so that we actually decrease our bundle size. They are loaded in dynamically, which works absolutely fine on most of the demos I've seen so far. So far, so good. That is the GitLab UI merge request. And what I would love to look into with you is the integration MR. So this is not the smallest of a change. So far, so good. A lot of things are breaking in here. I was able to fix a lot of things, like jest tests, having issues with the new async loader and stuff like that. But there is one thing and one R spec that is super interesting to me. I've prepared it a little. I currently have 2 GDKs running on my machine. Don't ask why, it's just the way it is. And we are now currently seeing master and the admin users table. And I instantly regret that I pressed this reload button. There we go. And the users tables, if you want to block a user, it opens a model, absolutely fine. This is great. This is on master. And remember, the only thing we changed is the GA table component. This is a part of GA table, but that's about it. This GDK is running on the integration MR branch, and the model just fails silently. So it turns out that the way the model is triggered, which looks like this, is not working anymore if you load the table components in a dynamic way. So one more thing that I did was just to plug in my local GitLab UI into this GDK, and it's so therefore I can confirm it's not a matter with the current code. If you basically, let me just try to put up the GL table component. Here we go. So this is the current state. This is not working. If you change this, and at least that's what I came up with this morning. If you change it to that and just import it, it's not a great idea because you're going to lose on the performance improvement like that. But you get the point. And the same for table, right? This will actually work, and this will then have the model. And that is where I'm currently at with this problem. And that was where I was a little like, interesting. I do have one idea on how to fix it, but I'm definitely not a fan of it. But that I tried it and it would work is kind of get rid of triggering this model via the bind method in here and just put in a new one because we have all the data. So that would be an option to do, but why? I'm curious for any idea on this. Was that understandable?
Yes, I think I may know why. But I think
Oh,
I may know what's going on.
better.
Okay. Can you jump to JS confirm modal button? Can we do a project-wide search for that? Did you already do that while I was out, or?
Haven't done this yet. JS confirm model button,
Yes,
just like that.
just like that. And then over in confirm modal.js.
That one.
Yeah. And then if you jump into confirm modal.view, you're gonna see.
Yep.
You'll see the thing, which I don't really know what the right. I have some ideas what the solution would be, but over there in mounted, we are querying everything that's on the DOM, but it's not on the DOM yet. So
that doesn't make sense. So just to confirm this, wait a second. Query selector all. Okay, if this is me Googling for stuff, DOM content loaded event listener. Well, wait a second. DOM content loaded for async JavaScript chunks.
So let me give some context to what this confirm modal's intention is. This confirm modal is meant to I don't think it's going to help either. Maybe. But this confirm modal is really meant for when we were like viewifying some sort of Rails thing with Haml. And so it's really meant for adding that JS confirm modal selector thing in the Haml buttons. That worked nicely here. We could try to see if DOM content loaded helps. If it does, I guess that's great. But it still brings up more questions, because what if I scroll down and I get more items, or I go to another page? Like already, I think there's already a bug probably here, regardless of whatever is going on.
Do agree. It just for the record, it does not seem to work.
It doesn't seem to do anything.
Yep.
Yeah. So here's my idea, and this is a common theme, because there's another. There was someone else was working on needing a button that opens up a modal generically. Could be from Vue, could be from Haml. We need some sort of generic modal that could open up. That's kind of what confirm modal is trying to do. Doesn't do it really well because of this one gotcha. So here's my thought. Instead of adding, and Andrew and Lena, I would love your thoughts on this. Instead of adding, and I'd also enjoy your thoughts, Yannick. Let's just all share our thoughts. Instead of adding the add event listener for click on line 36, what if the component just listened to an event hub? This way, within, oh man, Andrew's looking at me. Okay. This way, within Vue, we don't have to do any special classes. We just emit to Event Hub saying, open up this thing. I don't know where it lives, just open it. But for Haml stuff, we can add this event listener that's going to just, also query to the Event Hub. But we could do that probably on mount or something like that.
I've got another question. I've got a question on this. So, sorry, Paul, to answer your idea, I'm not sure yet, but before that, what is the reason like Vue is a virtual DOM framework? With what I'm seeing here, we're actually querying the actual DOM and kind of passing this. So this always is like a bit of a red flag for me. Like this smells like trouble. I haven't fully understood the reason behind that. Can you say something about that?
So I think if you look at the commit, Git Lens is telling you this commit from 2 years ago. And the name of the game was Haml to Vue. So this is, we want to have, you know, we want to have dynamic view modals, but the buttons can just be rendered from Haml because we can't emulate all that stuff. So this component has the huge assumption of the buttons are coming from Haml, and it's a little concerning. There's two concerns here. It's concerning that, whoa, when did we start using this for Vue? Because that's concerning. Then two, what other things besides confirm modal, which we happen to have tests for, what other things do we not have tests for that are expecting that might be doing a similar querying thing and that aren't going to cause a failed CI because of this async loading thing that we're adding to tables?
What I can tell you about this, on this particular integration MR, there are more issues similar to that. Like that is just one for it. So we have more tests for multiple issues, but obviously I can't say something about issues we might not have tests for. But
yeah, it's scary, and it brings up maybe we want to incrementally roll this out so we can incrementally test it. I don't know.
Sounds great. How would we incrementally roll out a new GitLab UI version?
Well, the version for temporarily would have to be backwards compatible. So we would need to have the version support both functionalities of the component. We like iterate towards, turning on the flag, then and in version we can drop it all and here's the new default behavior. That's kind of how we tend to do things that could break. We're going to iteratively roll them out. I don't know. It's a lot of work. It's not, I mean, let me put it this way. I'm bringing it up. I'm not suggesting it.
No. All good. Like I was just thinking about the incremental rollout because.
And I probably used bad language there. I meant iteratively rolling out the new behavior. That's what I meant.
Gotcha. And I'm currently still thinking about a way like this could work because so basically what we're seeing here would maybe be one approach. Basically, this kind of works with the new thing, with the new approach, but those two components, they are not imported dynamically, which will actually make for worse performance for a second. But hey, okay, so if we would roll it out like that, we wouldn't be there wouldn't be a lot of risk in it, basically none. The problem with that is this is not iteratively, because at one point we just have to make it dynamically, and that would be like a big bang, basically. So I'm trying to split this into chunks, and that's where I can't find any, because it's basically one import for a whole platform or two.
Right. Lena, you were involved. I don't know if we ever closed it, but we did something with icons using deprecated sizes.
Yeah.
Is that finished or is it still?
It is done. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. I'm glad to have a success story to share to you.
Yeah, but it happened just last week, so yeah, that's a success.
Oh, nice. It's still a while. But do you want to share just, do you think that approach could be relevant here of like having, if we wanted to like iteratively roll out a new behavior that could break things?
I don't know. I can tell how we did it with the icons. I'm not sure if it's applicable here. So we for the icons we had this one property provided from the upstream application that allowed us to use the deprecated size in our case, but I guess this could be like different component or whatever. And we created a bunch of issues, and people were like removing this deprecated property one by one and testing that each instance is working correctly, but I'm not sure if this is.
And that's really helpful because like we were able to, community members could pick it up to test it out and double check that it's not, nothing on the table is breaking anything. And but I think maybe the difference, what were you gonna say, Lena?
I just want to say that the main effort was in testing rather than writing some code. Well, they removed one line of code, but yeah, the main help was they were testing.
Yeah, because we just didn't know doing one big, we're going to change all the size of the icons. We don't know, is that going to, actually cause some styling issues. So we wanted to manually verify all of the instances that we were doing that. So if we wanted, and that's an example of iteratively rolling out some new behavior. So what in that instance we had, I think very similar to here, we had a single entry point but a flag passed from the client of which behavior to use. And that would be interesting. I see we could do something similar there. We have table light, full table. Maybe we could just have a flag that's, says, do we want to use the new table? Do we want to, or something like that? I don't know.
We have the same like very similar situation with the confirmation models. I think people were involved where you overall Rails confirm with the new implementation, and we actually hiding this functionality behind the feature flag, but I've created a bunch of issues so that people check each instance, and once they all are checked, we just can enable the feature flag. But by the time they will be enabling locally, checking one instance, closing the issue. When all 50 something are closed, well, maybe that's we can do here as well.
I might have an idea on how to roll this out incrementally. I'm not sure if I like it because it includes a lot of work, but that's probably what we have to do here because I don't feel too comfortable with rolling it out in the current state. So a little bit of more background on this. The table view component, I'm still sharing, right? Yeah. We're looking at here actually changes a lot of stuff. On one hand, it kind of dynamically will return you another bootstrap component, and it does change the way the stuff is loaded versus static, and now it's dynamic. What we could do is to get rid of this change we're currently seeing. We currently have a GL table light component in GitLab UI. So we would actually go by hand, go through all of our tables and see if they qualify for a GL table light. That would be a first performance improvement, not to do it automatically. And then I would probably want to add two more temporary GitLab UI components. And I would call them GL table light async and gtable async. And by that, we could then sort it out, which will be quite a long process if anything breaks. And by the end of this massive task, we will probably be able to introduce this component we're now seeing.
I really like that idea. I really like that idea of using components to as, you know, what behavior are we going to adopt iteratively, and that would also let us get immediate performance when it sounds like on some pages, which sounds really cool. Andrew, you asked a good question.
Sorry, I did not yet see the chat.
Okay. How does this component actually stop the full table from loading? My assumption was that like as soon as you use a blanket import at the top, it's too late.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And this is not the current state. This is just the fix I applied to make sure this is then working. And the actual state will, there we go. And this is now as it's working, since we are importing those two dynamically. And we will just render. So yeah, should use full table will give you a result. And then the render method will just return one of these two, and the other one will not be imported. That's how it works. Yeah, it's actually, that's why I'm getting a little sad on this, because we can get there. It's just more work than expected. Oopsie. Because on the integration, just to give a quick look what's in there, that is the bundle size analyzer. So that is what is in here for us with this improvement, and it is touching 98 entry points, which is quite massive. Like we even can bring down our average bundle size by 1%. So I think that's worth it if we look at it. Not in the way I was currently going for it, but on the long run at least.
If you go to the top, how does it get from? Oh, that's in. Okay. Wow. Okay. I saw 71%. I saw 71%. I was like, what? And then I didn't see kilobytes. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, you kind of have to ignore this column, because this so heavily depends on where you're coming from. Like we have massive, like 4 megabyte bundle. What up? But still, if we can reduce them a little, it's better than nothing.
Yeah.
So
and it comes as a freaking large amount of data, you know, relatively.
Absolutely. Especially since it's JavaScript, so you have to parse it, and it's actually like expensive data for the browser.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure, you know, back when the cyberpunk future was being envisioned and people were writing novels for what was going to be our future days, a megabyte was a ridiculous amount of data. So we are in the cyberpunk world. Yeah, no, yeah, the win does seem there, and it seems really awesome. But yeah, if you're having looked at the other kind of tests sort of failing, and yeah, we can't just trust that our tests will catch everything. If we feel like if we're feeling a little hesitant, I think that there's a way we can iteratively do this, which will be worth it in the long run.
Let me give you one last example, and then I'll probably shut up on this thing. Because like just to prove that there is more in the weeds here. So there is one more aspect. I kind of fixed it, but still, this is just looking for subscription toggle button. And what I figured for, I don't know why. So other than the model we've just been looking at, the functionality is still there. Even on the integration MR, this is all good. But this specific RSpec is failing on this feature, on the integration branch, because the markup changed.
May I interrupt? I think this was already fixed, because I did fix it. And yeah, you're right. In terms of accessibility improvements, the markup for the toggle was updated, and that is why those selectors do not work. But if you rebase on master, this failure should go. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So this would be fixed with a rebase on the GitLab UI. Okay, that is great. So that's an explanation for this behavior. That's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, but that's for this case and other toggles. Yeah, but there were a bunch of them, like 20 or something.
Gotcha. Yeah, still, there are plenty more aspects failing in there which I haven't even looked at. And as Paul correctly mentioned, we can't assume that everything is covered by tests. And performance is great to have, but if we're breaking features, kind of depends on how brutal we want to be. But I tend to be on the safe side with this.
Yeah. But it does seem like a cool opportunity too for us to create an epic and add to hackathon and all those things that so those are cool efforts, because getting community, you're muted. I'm just gonna assume you're agreeing.
I do agree. Just one more detailed question on this, and then we can hop on to another topic. Is how do you feel about actually making these two kind of tables for components, like one being GL table and one being GL table async? Because we probably there's no other other way to test this, I suppose.
Yeah, I think that's using separate components for the different behavior. I think that's great. I mean, that allows us to cherry pick, from the bundle perspective, only the behaviors that we may need on a certain page bundle and stuff. I like using components. I like using different components for different behavior. That's
and what we then actually would achieve, it's absolutely fine to use a GL table or a GL table light. That really depends on the feature set, but we would want all the tables going with the async version. That would be the requisite to actually then make the automate this approach then.
Yeah,
Sweet.
I like it. Yeah. Thanks for bringing this up. Now, this was concern number 2. Concern number 1 still exists, which is what your MR revealed our potential issue that already exists in master of us reading, looking at view components and within this view.
We're back at this one, right?
Yeah. I think this is still a problem that we need to fix. Do you think that there's a bug? Is there actually a bug here? Can we find on master? Is it possible that one of those rows isn't loaded yet, and so it's not going to work on master?
Well, I was not able to ever get this to fail on master.
Does a page, if you scroll down, does it does it on those pages, is that a brand new page load if you go to next on a page?
Yep.
Oh, it is. I was hoping we could find a bug. So I guess this just happens to work, and it would be nice to fix it, and it's something we could do with our time right now. Do you think that's worth it? I've got some bugs that are actual bugs that we can look at. I'm up for destroying potential bugs and actual bugs.
It feels to me that actual bugs are more important to our product than potential bugs, but let's get rid of all of them. So I don't really care.
Well, we're already here, so we don't have the context switch. Maybe that's nice. We can see where we're at.
Absolutely.
So what did it make sense, the suggestion of using an event hub instead of binding to button clicks? We would bind to the event hub from the view component.
Well, I think we need both, right?
Right. I think what I would prefer doing, and let me know what you think. I would prefer doing the button click on this module to the left. On the mount module, we would bind it to the the event hub to the whatever buttons we can find. I don't know. So on
Sorry,
the
just making a note. Yep.
Yeah, and then we get a like a ref to the modal that we can call this dot. We can call like refs dot modal dot open modal on. Is that how that works? I don't like.
So I'm imagining on the right, confirm modal.view. I am imagining that this just does event hub binding. And the event hub receives the arguments that were as arguments. Instead of taking it from the data set, it will receive arguments on the event, which will update our data and we'll hit open modal. And so we're adding some indirection through with the event hub. Then where do we actually add these button click listeners is a really good question. I think we could do it on the mount function, our JS module that does the mounting. We could do something really cool and have like a renderless component that does this thing. I know. All right, Andrew sold me. We're gonna do it. It's gonna be amazing. Yeah, let's do it. The renderless components can be so sweet. All right, I'm sold.
Sweet. Gotcha. I'm sold as well. You just said one thing which makes me wonder. At least in this case, those buttons in here, they're actually coming from the GeoTable component, to quite deep, nested deeply, but nevertheless.
Yes.
So we have them in view. Why do we need an event listener still?
So what we'll actually do, what I'm seeing us do on
we still need the event listener because these buttons are theoretically still being called from Haml somewhere, right?
Okay.
Yes, this is very true. So we still need the button listener, but on the left-hand side, we want to not use JS confirm modal button. We don't want to use that class. We want to emit to our event hub. When on click, when I've done the drop down item, whatever that is, when I've done the drop down item, we want to emit to the event hub.
Yep, that one. Okay, how would that work?
And I'm not entirely sure I'm not sure what events or what props we can do from GL drop down items, so we can look at the spec for that. But maybe let's just refactor the right hand side first before, I don't know. I try to avoid opening up Bootstrap view documentation as much as possible. If I've had to go to Bootstrap view, they've already won and I've lost, no matter what happens in the MR.
Yeah, do agree. The good thing about this GitLab UI storybook should actually be enough for this. At least I hope so.
Hopefully. Sometimes it's a
You have to go deeper.
Sometimes they're like, just look at Bootstrap views documentation. And then you're like, oh man, I was trying to avoid this.
So here's a drop-down item. What are you interested in? The props?
I think we're going to be interested in an event. I think we're going to be interested in like on a click event.
Yeah, we just want to throw a click on there, right? Like that should be no problem.
Yeah, that's you think that's an event that's on there? You're pretty sure? I'm pretty sure it is too. I think we can assume it is. I'm fine with just assuming it is.
Gotcha.
And then let's just merge it and it's fine. The first 30 minutes of our pairing, we're talking about don't assume anything. The last 30 minutes of the pairing is
just merge.
Click's one of those like safe, sacred events where everything can be clicked except for a few things.
Except for a few things. That sounds just like JavaScript. Yeah. Okay. Let's do it on the right hand side, and let's do the let's maybe comment that out, that block inside of mounted, like all of it. Yeah. This is gonna be really sweet. let's comment this all out. Let's create our event hub. It's got to live somewhere. That's the hardest part. I like to just, these days I've given up on organizing things. I just put them all in the same folder, just name them something. I'm a huge fan of that. So I would put the, if I was picking, well, here's an idea. I was originally thinking, let's just put it in a sibling. Even though this is called components, we can call it confirm modal event hub. It's very much part of confirm modal. I don't like separating them. And because I don't like separating them, here's a crazy idea. What if, just like we kind of do with some of our, like, you know, like how we reuse things. Do you know how we reuse I-18Ns? I forgot the actual word. Jars. You know how we
Translations?
Translations in spec, and by putting it in the component options, we can kind of import it and use it around. What if we did the event hub, we created it inside the .view file, then put it in our options, which other things could, like, yeah, I know, it's crazy. I don't know if it's a good thing. What do you think?
So it would go in here then?
Yeah, and then we can put in our options, and then when I use it, I guess I do something like import confirm modal. I could do something like confirm modal dot event hub dot emit or something. I don't know. It's a little weird.
What if we had a named import or a named export instead, like outside the component definition?
Can you do that?
Yeah.
I didn't know you could do that in view files. That'd be cool.
I mean, this is just exporting default, right? Like that should be no problem.
Yeah, that would be better.
So something along those lines?
Yeah, and we have like our event hub factory thing. Let me get that for you.
Gotcha. But the event hub still will be a view file, not a JS file, correct?
We can put it in a separate file, or I think we could put it in the same file. I'm fine either way.
Yeah,
but if we're gonna put it,
we can put it as like a named export in confirm modal.view, right? Like that's Paul's thought.
Yeah.
Okay, now I see. Like a named export in here.
Yeah.
So that would then just go.
So I gave you a link to Yep.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and I gave you a link to what we have, so many modules that look exactly like this. We do this all the time. Yeah, if you just do a Command P for event hub, you'll find an example. Yeah, that's it.
Gotcha. Well, okay, cool. If that is the way it is done on other examples, do we still want to have this in here, or should we just go with that approach?
Whatever you prefer. I'm just throwing ideas out there, and I don't think I feel great about my ideas. But if someone else feels really good about it, then I'm like, oh, maybe that was a good idea.
I personally will probably follow the example we're currently seeing on the left because it's just easier to adopt it, but I don't think
that sounds
one
great.
or the other way. Okay, sweet.
The only challenge is then we have to find a place for that module to live. And we're technically under a folder called components. So that's the challenge there. And I'm fine if we want to just put this as a sibling of components and just, we already have a JS file there. That's it. We've components is now.
Gotcha. I do agree, at least for now. Like, I'd love to pair on the solution for this, and I'm more than happy to move this around to my own.
Now we will want to name this confirm modal event hub. We want it to be scoped to confirm modal.
Gotcha.
I mean, and on a side note, maybe we should have just had just one event hub and like been better at namespacing events and something like, but I think it's too late there.
Okay.
Yeah, great. So we have that. That's awesome. We're going to import that in the component.
Which component would it be? That would be that one, right? That priorly used the query selector.
The confirm modal.view, yes, is going to import the event hub. What do you mean the eschew convention, Andrew? That went over my head.
Oh, did I just spell a shoe wrong?
There's many gaps in my knowledge. What's this?
Deliberately avoid using.
Deliberately avoid using. Okay.
Got to keep it fun. Got to keep it fresh.
I do like that. Yeah. Yeah. This is what everyone's been doing. So clearly we shouldn't do this.
Exactly.
Our code base has problems. We have been doing this. Therefore, we should stop doing it because we
I really took Fleetwood Mac to heart, you know.
How so?
I can't go my own way.
Oh yeah. All right. Yep.
Wait,
Awesome.
so the import's working.
Yes, and I would call it just event hub when we import it, because yeah.
Gotcha.
And probably
the
little
export makes the event hub, right, as part of the.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, and cool. So now what we're gonna do is replace mounted. Mounted, we're gonna do event hub on. Now that we're talking about this, it's probably a really good idea for us to do named exports for all the types of events within these event hubs, so we don't have magic strings everywhere. Do you want to over engineer this just a little bit? Yes. Okay. All right.
Always in for a good over engineering.
All right. On the left module, let's export const something like event, biggie event, all caps, screaming snake event, bigger. Yes. Big event, biggie event. We'll call it biggie event. Yeah, that's good. And we'll name it a string of like open. I don't know.
Do we want to over engineer even more?
Oh, I do. Symbols.
We want to use symbols.
Yeah, man. Wait,
Yeah.
does that work for event hubs?
Oh,
I don't know if it works
we
for
could find
event.
out. We could find out.
I think
I'm
it
sure
actually
it's
will.
just a simple equality check. Like it can't be too crazy.
We actually, this event hub factory is actually like completely homemade. So it's a map. So yeah, that should work actually. Yes, let's use symbols. I'm sold. Yeah, we'll call it Biggie.
Okay, I kind of lost you on the symbols, but
yeah.
What would be the next thing to do?
On line 5, oh yeah, this is way over engineering. Instead of making a string, it's new symbol.
Gotcha.
Or is it new symbol, or is it you just wrap it in symbol? It's not new symbol, is it? Gosh, I forgot to do this. Yes, you don't actually, it's not new symbol, it's just symbol without the new, and then you put the string in there. And basically what this means is you have to use this reference. You cannot just drop a random string to emit.
Gotcha.
Which is kind of cool. And yeah.
Just invalidating basically.
Right. Probably makes a lot of sense instead of Biggie for us to call this event open or something. I know.
Okay.
Yep. I love it. I love it. Great.
Should we already add and close? Because that's.
I don't think so, because that's not previously. We haven't needed a close, and the modal handles closing itself. So I think this is all about just opening it. So that's all we need. Great. So then over on the right-hand side, when we import the event hub next to it, we're going to import event open. It's one of those. I'm pretty sure it's the curly one.
This only happens when somebody's watching. I can't believe it. Gosh.
Yeah, I know. I know that sometimes keyboards are weird, man.
But this should be right? Yep.
You'll do it in the
Here we
same
go.
line. You could do event hub, comma, then the name event. Yeah.
Yeah, that's, well, I guess I'd rather copy the curly braces now.
Yep. Awesome. Okay. Cool. So then on mounted, we're gonna do event hub dot on. Yeah. And it's actually the lower event hub, and I think it's cameled. And the on actually has $1 in front of it because it's borrowing the view API is what it's meant to replace. Cool. And then we pass the symbol into the on first, and then our callback function. The
well,
event
symbol
open.
Is,
the event open.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Yeah. And then our callback function.
Yeah, and let's thinking ahead. Rather than doing the arrow function here, let's do an actual method so that we can off it on the unmounted, even though I don't think we technically unmounted, but this is what we should do. We'll actually need to add a method. So I would add a method calling something like on open event or something. And that's what we'll reference there is something like this dot on open event.
Just like that. And oh, there we go. We only have to find it.
Yes. Awesome. Yeah, great. And so my intent for using a method is so that we can off it. So we can do this dot on open event, and then on the destroyed lifecycle we can off it. So and that's probably something that we should add right now on line 45 is this on add destroyed.
45.
Yeah, we can do before destroy or destroyed. Yeah. Yep.
Gotcha. What are we gonna put in here?
Event hub off, event open, this dot on open event.
So this is just getting rid of the event listener that we set.
Yep.
Gotcha. So it's the exact same thing anyways, I suppose.
Yep. Awesome.
Sweet.
Okay, cool. So let's on the on open event, let's thinking ahead. We're gonna get some data. And it's gonna have path, method, and modal attributes. So let's just on line 50, let's go ahead and just destructure that on line 50 on the argument within the parentheses. Let's just destructure, assuming that we're going to get path, method, and modal attributes. With the curly brace destructuring thing.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Path, method, and modal attributes, just like that, right?
Awesome. Yep. And then we will basically do what's there on line 39 to 42. But instead of doing the button stuff, we're just going to use those.
Okay. So then that would, wait a second, let's just copy this.
Yep.
So, but it is not going to be this path, but rather path. No, wait a second.
Yep.
Like this
on the right hand side is going to be just, yeah. Andrew, you bring up a really good point. This whole approach is like taking for granted so much the nature of modals that there will ever only be one modal on the screen at a time because it takes over everything.
Yeah. We also won't need to parse the modal attributes because when we use the event hub, we can shoot around plain JavaScript.
Yep.
Which will be
Yep. So on line 53, we can get rid of the JSON parse.
Sweet.
And then we'll do open mode. So this dot open mode. So we're setting the data so that we update our the state for the template, and then we actually update the modal to show up. Cool, that's great. But now we're in the most exciting part where we're gonna do the renderless component to add listeners on document listeners. It's gonna be so much fun. And we're already in the right folder for it, the view shared components for adding all the components that don't really have a home. So let's create one called I kind of want to just call it DOM listener. That's that's what I want to do. I want to call it DOM listener. Yeah.
Okay, where would that go? Like another component within here?
Actually, we're gonna create another view file.
Gotcha.
Yes, Foster's home for shared view components. 100%.
How would you want to call that one more time?
So I am thinking of calling it DOM element listener.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So before we write this, the way I'm picturing it being used, and Lena, Andrew, Yannick, I'm just throwing ideas out there. If you don't like it, then that's a really good signal. It's not good. If you go to confirm modal, the way I see this being used, if we go down, now because there's no like fragment component, and we have to have a root component, and because we have to have a root component, let me deal with that problem later. The above line 75, here's how I think we could use this. It could be really cool. If you go add a line above line 75, so right above GL modal. Yep. So we'll do something like create the DOM element listener component. Oh, sorry. I mean, it's actually gonna be called, the name of our component is DOM element listener. Yep. And then before we close it off, we're going to pass the selector there. We'll pass that selector that we were using in the other file. Yeah, I think we're gonna have to do a slot for it because of root component issues, which should be fine, but we'll have to put the whole GL modal within there.
Yep. What do you mean by slot? It would be fine if we just wrap it in something, right? Or
well, so we can, the goal here is that the DOM element listener doesn't render anything. But if we make it our root component, then we can just use the default slot.
Gotcha.
To pass the modal through. Yeah.
Like a higher order one. Okay.
And so DOM element listener is going to take selector as a prop, and then oh man, we could be really fancy with it. Like we could listen based on what listeners, the keys of the listeners pass to it. Those are the yeah. We're gonna do it that way. Maybe that's a bad idea. I don't know. I like it. We're gonna do selector is the whatever the selector actually was, the like JS thing that was passed from the mount module. We can actually just pass the selector that's passed to us. If we don't want to change this component's API, we can actually pass selector along to it.
Okay, but that would then basically just be selector, right?
I think you actually have to do like a colon selector equal. I think you have to actually do it.
And what am I going to put in here? Selector?
Yep. Yeah. So that would work, but then the event is going to be at click or whatever.
I cannot wait for the day where you can just do :selector and like
Oh, that's a great idea.
magic.
That's actually a really good idea.
Right.
Then we'll do at click, and we'll have one called on button element click. And we still have yep. Yeah. So we'll have another method for, I don't know, we can just call it on button click. Button element's probably redundant. But
Gotcha.
Yep.
Do we need to rename it from click to something that's special? Like if you click on the modal, will the click somehow magically like work its way up somehow or something crazy? Or is Vue good?
Do you mean if we need to like prevent default?
Something like that. Or just like name it something else.
So I was planning on being really fancy, and well, it may not be a good idea. And especially now that I'm realizing on line 38, we had to prevent default before. Because I guess maybe sometimes these were like anchor elements potentially. I was planning on within DOM element listener, we can look at our dollar listeners that we get from the component and dynamically figure out what are the keys that I need to add for. But
yeah, let's do it. Let's try it.
But I don't know. But I now realize we got to do some sort of preventing, right? I don't know how to do that. We could try it.
Well, you could put the prevent in the DOM event listener.
Yeah, we could do that. I know that like for other elements, you can do at click dot prevent. You know what I mean? Have you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Do you think we can read that from dollar listeners?
You must, right? Like,
let's try it out. Let's do it. All right, that's fine.
I'll see if I can find something in the doc.
At click.prevent. Wait a second. How's this going to work out? Oopsie.
Yeah, it's fancy, man. At click.prevent.
Just like that?
Yeah, but then we're gonna do the equal quote on button press thing. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, so we're still gonna.
But we do need to, yes, it's at click.prevent equal on button press. All one. Yeah. Yep. And I forgot what they call that. They call it something, but it's something about like your attributes for the event.
But help me out here. What does this thing actually do? Like I get add click and then like a method name, but what about the prevent?
Yeah,
like, when has this been fired?
It's a fancy Vue thing.
Yeah, there's a few modifiers you can throw on Vue events. Stuff like .native or .prevent, and .prevent just calls like prevent default on the event.
Okay.
And then there's a few other fancy ones as well that I think.
So it basically translates to prevent default.
Yeah.
It just does it. Like that is if I would get rid of the prevent.
Oh gosh. Yeah. I wonder if it's just gonna do it for us. Like I don't even think we need to do anything for the, like no matter what our event object is, no matter even if we're not doing something native, I think it's always gonna do prevent default. Just try to call that function.
Yeah. Some other fancy modifiers are like if you do key up or key down or something, you can throw the key code in. So it's like key up dot A or something. And
that's
like,
fancy. That's really fancy.
Okay, so let's stick with add click.prevent then.
Yep. So this is going to take the generic DOM event object, so we can receive as our argument E on line 50. But then let's just call on open event from here, and let's just convert things we get from E to here. So we'll need to pass a new object to on open event.
Where is on open event coming from? Or how does it spell?
Line 53.
There we. So what are you complaining about then? Gotcha.
But we'll want to do a new object because we'll need to convert things we get from E.
Mhm.
Like we'll get path, and that'll be what is it called? Target or trigger? What E dot target
Mm.
event? Like how do we get the element of it?
I believe it's target. This is a click event, right?
Target sounds about right to me.
Yeah. So we want to let's go ahead and
But
pull
there's-
E. Yep. Let's go ahead and pull E dot target to a new variable before line 51 so that we can easily reference it. Yeah. Yep. Lovely. All right. And so then we're going to do path colon element dot dataset dot path. Now this is going to look almost exactly like line 39 to 41.
Oh, but outside of the function call, right? Like we're gonna do this.
Oh no, I meant
we?
within line 50 within here.
Oh, okay, gotcha. So we would have path, and that would then be E dataset.
Well, it'll be element dot dataset dot path. Yep.
Gotcha. Does make a lot of sense there. Method. What else? Model attributes.
Yeah, and this will need the JSON parse and stuff.
It will, right? Yeah, because we're just getting it from an element. Gotcha.
I guess we could be really fancy and like spread the data set, but I'm fine with this either way. I don't really.
Yeah,
That's great.
Should be. Let's make it work at first.
Yeah, that looks great. And then yep.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So now we'll save that out, and now the thing to fix is DOM element listener, which should be really simple. So DOM element listener, we don't have it written out yet.
Here we are. Sweet. So, oh yeah, empty file. Let's go.
Yes. So we need the script and template, and we don't use view 3. Don't even try to compose.
Template.
Yeah.
Okay. What else do we need?
So confirm modal is going to extend DOM element listener. That would be really gnarly. So template is going to just render slot. It's just going to pass slots through. So that's easy. Now we finished half the component.
But wait a second, I have to pass it, don't I?
I think it's just one singular word slot, not slots.
Gotcha. Absolutely.
Does it need to be a view, like a single file component?
Do we want to do the render function thing?
Do we?
Yeah,
sure, why not?
Let's do it. I thought for some reason that was working, but yeah, let's do it. Yeah, so we're just gonna export default. Yep, and then the render function it's this dot dollar default slot. That's it, right? And render's a function. It has the parentheses instead of the colon.
Ah, oopsie.
Let me see if I can find a default slot.
What are we showing in here? Help me out.
Oh no, it's slots.default. Yeah. Sorry. Oh gosh. I'm sorry about that. It's render this dot slots dot default. Yep.
Like that?
Yep. All right.
Sweet.
Awesome. Yep. And so we get the prop selector as a string. It's required. We need a prop selector string required.
What is wrong? Nothing. Sweet.
Yeah. ESLint is like, whoa, 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 whoa. Oh, it's fine. Cool. And so then on mounted and destroyed, like if we were good citizens, we should also clean it up too. So we'll need those life cycle events, and I would go ahead and just copy them. Yep. Do you know if there's a preference if we do destroyed or before destroy? I'm pretty sure these are right below props.
I'm not aware of any preference.
Okay. That's right. All right. So now we don't need line 10. We can uncomment that. Well,
what I just deleted, that's what
I
we
would
can
delete.
uncomment?
Yeah, I would delete the one and then uncomment the other one. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yes. All right. So now the fancy thing. I think what we can do on line 12 is something like this dot dollar listeners is a object. Keys are the event names. Values are the functions. So what we want to do is something like object dot entries this dot dollar listeners above this line. Yeah, you're gonna love it.
Pretty sure. Wait a second. Object dot entries. So that will call a function, right?
Yep.
What are we gonna put in here? This dollar
listeners. Yeah. So just like the adders, this is a collection, dynamic collection of all the listeners that your component has received. So for all of our listeners, we are going to do dot for each. Yep. And on entries gives us an array. Each item is an array of key value. So we can actually destructure the array within our argument parenthesis thing. Yep. And it's actually an array, so it's gonna be the square black bracket thing.
Gotcha.
And so the first one is the key, and the second one is the value. Yep, the item works too. Those are all good. Yep. Cool. So then for each one of those, we are now gonna do button. I guess we call the button. We can call it something else if we want to, which makes more sense. But button dot add event listener.
Still click? Must be click, right?
Well, instead of click, it's actually key. That's the fancy thing. That makes this super generic.
Yeah, so now we'll be able to pass arbitrary events in.
It's not even a string key. It's the key of listeners. Listener is a key.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now I see. I was just, wait a second.
I know. And I'm only 75% certain this is gonna work.
Okay, so it's gonna be a generic event listener for whatever event. Understood.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
And then value is the function. I think we can actually just pass it as it. So I don't even think we need to wrap it, right?
Did not compute. What?
So value actually is the function. We could just pass
gotcha.
value.
Okay, just put it in there and off we go.
Yeah.
Sweet.
That is it. And we don't need line 15.
We're gonna get the wrong.
We can get rid of all of this, right?
Yeah. What are you wondering?
Get the wrong. I wonder if we're gonna get the wrong this in value, but I think view is smart enough to deal with that for us.
Okay.
I think it is.
What about the destroyed though? Because we're not setting it anymore, right?
Oh, that's such a good question about this thing. I'm gonna not worry about it. I think it does its bind. I think by referencing by name, I think it automatically is binding to this. I think it'll be okay. So then on destroyed, I think we could do something really similar. Now I don't know what the life cycle, like, is listeners still going to be around when we're destroyed? Like, should I turn them off all this way too? I wish it just gave us I wish it just gave us a bunch of functions back of like, every time I added event listener, I wish it gave me a function back of like.
I was just about to say.
Does it not?
I think there is something.
You must be thinking of.
I would just
thinking of some sort of view framework.
Nicer, more positive. Huh.
Can we just remove what I just put up on my screen on MDN? Like you remove event listener?
Yes. Yeah, you can just remove event listener.
What
Gotcha.
if instead of for eaching, we mapped and returned our own function that called remove event listener?
I love it. I'm done. That's it.
But that would
but what about the query selector all? Well, I guess we could flat map.
We got a flat map.
We got a flat map, obviously.
We got a flat map. So for the query selector, instead of calling for each, we'll call flat map.
Mm-hmm.
Can we? Because this is actually technically a node collection. It's actually not an array. So we'll have to do array from first or something like that.
Oh.
That's absolutely right. Does anybody know by heart, or do I need to Google? Is it just array from?
Array dot from.
Is it just?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
It just has to cover the
after the query selector
all.
Right before the
so, yep. Just until here then.
Yeah.
And so now we can call
okay.
flat map.
Good stuff. Here we go.
And then we're gonna want to return. We could probably turn this into a one-line function.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Do it.
Yeah, we can. Yeah, we can. We're just gonna return our call to object.entries. And then object.entries, we want to call map on instead of for each.
Mm-hmm.
And then after the add event listener,
Mm-hmm.
we want to return an arrow function that calls button.remove event listener.
I freaking love it.
And then now we need to stash that all somewhere in like a data value.
We can call it, well, it doesn't have to be stateful, like, so we can just call it, we don't need it to be data, right?
Do we not?
We don't need to be reactive. You can just throw, if we need, sometimes it's nice when something's not reactive, especially things that are like functions and like.
I just don't know. Like, how do we?
Yeah, so for this kind of stuff, I've always, if I'm like on mount, if I am creating like a dispose function that I'm just going to call and destroy, I don't want to put it in data. Data is only meant for like, I'm going to actually update the template and things are going to watch it and stuff. So I would, and it's a gray area. I think some people feel like they have to put everything in data, but that can actually cause issues. So I would put all of this in like this dot disposables or this dot dispose. I would call it disposables because it's an array. We just on line 10 assign our glorious function to this dot disposables.
Wait, that works?
Yeah, man. This is the land of JavaScript where there's nothing private.
You do whatever we want.
You do whatever you want.
So just like that?
Yes. Now that we're talking about it, though, Andrew, it would be kind of cool if we adopted the convention of maybe doing the leading underscore for like private variables that aren't reactive, so that I'm not thinking it's reactive. I don't know. Andrew's like, this is JavaScript. You do whatever you want. All right, we're so close. Now on before destroy, we'll disposables for each call each one of those functions. We could use Lodash to create one glorious. We can compose them all, and let's wrap our array from with a Lodash compose to create one glorious dispose function that we call. But let's just do this. This is fine. Let's do before destroy on line 18. Let's add a new
to the person.
Wait. So there is no more destroy in here.
Yes, we want to.
Okay, we want to add a destroy.
Yeah, gotcha. Destroyed would be fine. Yeah, and then this dot disposables for each, and then f and. Yeah, we can just call it disposables for each, and then x to calling x, whatever we want it to be.
Wait, what?
We're just gonna.
Now x is our function that calls remove event listener, so we want to call x.
We want to call x.
Yep.
Just like that?
Yeah. Just like that.
Yeah, that's it. It's done. Line 35.
Land.
Yeah. So we just need to import it.
That is pretty over the top, folks. Wow. Okay.
It might be a little over-engineered.
Just slightly, but nevertheless. Well, okay. I was assuming that we don't have to iterate and destroy it anymore, which is obviously wrong, but well, okay, let's leave it like that. That's fine.
On the right-hand side, the missing part is now we need to import a new component. We need to import DOM element listener.
Gotcha. Import.
And yeah, it's a component, so probably should capitalize the name.
That sounds like a good idea. DOM element listener from why did you know autofilling? Okay. Sweet. Let's register it.
I'm very proud of the work we've done here today.
Yeah, it's good.
Do agree.
And it's a flat map. You know, you're doing something right.
That's right.
Yeah, and I think that's it. So existing stuff should still work. Which means whatever tab has master running should still work. But now the goal is to replace this button to use the event hub.
What do you mean by this button? This button, right?
Yeah. Does that work if you click it?
Mm.
Oh, does this work? Is this the right one?
Let me double check, but how do we check it?
Did we call the event listener in our button, or did we not get there yet?
I don't know. I knew I was gonna miss something.
So we're looking at the right one.
So what does this block button do right now?
What does the block button do?
Is this on master?
That's what it does.
Integration branch.
So we still need to.
This is the integration branch.
Yeah,
so it's still gonna break.
Call the event hub. We still need to call the event hub here.
Got it. I was wanting to see if any of the button listeners still worked, and I don't know which ones. We could do a search for the JS confirm. We could do a search for pages that use that and try that out. Or we can replace this to use the event hub first. Do you want to try use the event hub here? Which one do we want to do? And we're at
let's do the coding now and testing later.
Okay, let's do the event hub and then we can test it all out later. Yeah, and when we push it up, well, let's CI test it. CI is pretty good at it. So we want to import the event hub from view shared from our. We want to import that here. But yeah, we also made the assumption that click was a thing for this. I think
wait a second. How would the path look like from here? Is it just view shared? No.
You'll need to go to the tilde home, and then I think it's view underscore shared
Mhm.
components.
Wait a second. We had this open somewhere, hadn't we? Well, that releases the path.
Yeah,
Mm,
Yep. But now instead of confirm modal.view, it's the confirm modal event hub.
like that, right?
With no
no,
dot view.
no underscore between event and hub.
Oh, good catch.
And node.view.
Yeah,
Just like
and
that?
it's yelling at
Just
you
like that.
because it wants to be above constants. And I'm pretty sure. Yep.
It's just an object, so it doesn't have to be capital case.
Yes, it's not a
It's not-
component.
it's
It's
not a
just a.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not a component, therefore it's not going in here as well.
And we also
Um,
need to import our event because it's a symbol. So we
Oh, you're so right. That's right. We made this harder on ourselves.
I like it. I like it.
I do like
think
it
it's
too.
appropriate.
Yeah. So after
So
the event hub,
after-
comma. Yep. Go ahead.
You got it.
Yep. Awesome.
mhm. Sweet. What do we do with it in here then?
Now in
That's
our
not it,
template,
is it?
that is it. No. On line 59, we want to get rid of button class and add a click listener.
We can get rid of vbind as well.
Yeah. Yep. Add a click listener for on click. We called our method on click, whatever we want to call it.
Mm,
Yep. Are you pretty sure that click is going to handle, like, if you tab into it and press enter and stuff? Is it handles all those?
I'd lie if I'd say yes. I don't know.
I think so. I think it will. I have no reason
Sweet.
to think it won't. All right, and then we are going to call our event hub dot dollar emit. Yeah, I think we did a big H too, or I'm not sure if we did. Oh, you
We have to
gotta
pass
use
in our event.
you gotta use symbols, man.
Yeah.
Mm,
Can't just throw strings around all willy-nilly.
gotcha.
Yep. And then
Better?
we're going to pass our object that we're actually creating on line 43. We're going to pass that as the argument of the emit.
Sorry, I was distracted by VS Code. One more time.
No, you're good. We're at the very end of this. Line 37
Mhm.
takes two arguments. We're going to pass
Gotcha.
in the event parameters. And it's going to be a new object.
Well,
And
we
I
can
would,
just call this. Or do you want to spread it?
I was going to just get rid of the computed. I was going to just create it here. Like, we don't need to. I was going to create a new line here. And then if you copy all of line 43 to 54 into it, then we should be pretty good.
Need
From
to
45.
clean up.
Yep, all of the stuff in here, right?
Yep.
We do need to clean up the key names.
Yep. The key names and the stringified. All right. Yep.
Okay, we can get rid of the computer now, right?
Woohoo. Yep.
Of all of it.
Get rid of it. All right. Awesome.
What do we need to do in here? The stringify is not relevant anymore, is it?
Stringify is gone, and we don't need the data prefixes. We got stringif.
Oh.
We got rid of stringify. Now stringif.
Almost. Data attributes. What kind of data attributes? Those?
We don't need the data prefixes, so it's just going to be path, method.
Okay, gotcha. So just like that.
I
Except,
think modal attributes needs to be camel cased, right?
yep. And then I'm pretty sure Prettier someone's gonna yell at you for putting those around quotes, but it should work as is. So let's test it out. Oh, it's gonna work. I can feel it.
This part, no problem. No problem.
Do it. Yes! That was beautiful. That was it. All right, can we try canceling it and blocking another person?
I rather don't. That's
I'd
just
rather not try it. Yep. Cool. Awesome. Yeah. So that's great.
amazing. Okay, so it's reloading if you block somebody. Well, that kind of. Oh, did I just block the GitLab security bug? That'd be funny.
No, it was not letting you. Oh, interesting.
Doesn't make sense. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So this is working nicely, and now even if the elements are loaded asynchronously or whatever, it's going to continue to work, which is very exciting. The big question is, does it work for the DOM? How does our DOM element listener fancy component work? But we use functional principles there, so we're guaranteed for it to work.
Flawless.
You know what kind of makes me worry? Like a couple of things. Like I would really see this MR. A couple of things are blocking. First of all of the changes are now in the integration MR branch, which okay, they need to be transformed, and that's doable. There's no issue for that. Still doable, but we've been enhancing a VU shared component quite heavily. How do we guarantee that all the others using this thing are still working? CI tests, off we go.
Well, I think we're adding new functionality to here and refactoring the line 38, the query selector all into a renderless component should be a no op. So if we can confirm that refactoring is a no operation, like that's not going to change, that shouldn't change behavior. We should only be adding new behavior here, which is a good thing.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, but I didn't. You're right. I didn't realize we were on the integration branch. Do you want to?
My bad.
And cherry pick this, and don't feel like you have to write up a nice MR description or anything. If you want to just push something up.
Yeah, let's try and do this. Let's try and do this quick. Where are we at here? So this is the integration branch. Problem with that is we probably have a lot of changes in our steps. So that's just.
Oh, we just have our changes. That's all I've.
Is that all? Just want to make sure that. Well, is it? What about? Okay, I just forgot a console log, but that's okay. And we can obviously get rid of this as well.
Oh, it's so pretty.
So all of these changes are looking good, right?
Yeah.
Sweet. Then yeah, nice. Maybe we want to get rid of this comment as well.
Yeah, that comment is outdated now. Modal UI does work with the latest GitLab UI update.
Gotcha. Sweet. But other than that, we should be clear.
Yeah.
Okay. Any ideas on the commit message?
Something like WIP, like. No.
Programming is the single greatest.
No. I wouldn't call it whip. We're done with it. This is
gotcha.
That's the message.
You know, when ship hits the fan,
I would write something like refactored refactored confirm modal to work with refactored confirm modal.
To
comma,
use
async.
Event Hub, maybe, or
Yeah, whatever short.
Or what
And then
about
just
without
like, and then
query selector? How do you feel about that?
sure. And then in like the body text, just send a link. Is this going on like unfiltered or something?
yeah.
Yeah, just send a link. Just put a link to the video on unfiltered right in the body text of the commit message.
Oh yeah.
We'll do so as soon as I got the link, I suppose.
Oh man. Yeah, we need to figure out how we can predict what links YouTube will generate.
Didn't I add? What's up with that? Come on.
I think we have to add everything. Is probably what I'm
Yeah.
getting.
Sweet. I'd be curious how we're gonna cherry pick this command in another MR.
Let's just do it. Let's totally do it in a different branch. Yeah, this needs to
Absolutely.
happen separately.
So
We could just create the separate branch here.
Yeah.
We could just do it all in the terminal.
Go for it. Okay.
Git checkout -b,
Mm,
and then we'll call it FE as the we're
wanna
gonna create a new
check out-
branch, and we'll call our branch something like FE for front end. I don't know what you want to call it. We can call it JL for Yannick.
Yannick functional, good stuff.
Yeah, we'll call it Yannick functional good stuff.
gotcha.
Pairing good stuff. Yeah.
Sweet. Here we are.
Awesome. So then we checked out from the branch we're already on. So now what we want to do is rebase onto master and get rid of the other commits.
So it will be origin.
So I always do rebase I, because rebase, I like to look at what I'm about to do. So I always do rebase I, and we want to rebase on origin master or master, whatever.
Origin master,
origin
slash master.
Yeah, it's gonna be in this command. We use a slash. In other commands, it's not always the case. Yep. And then delete everything except the last pick. And then you can do that. Oh, you're not in Vemland. I don't know how to do it.
I think you
Just give me the keyword for
backspace.
delete.
You just hold backspace.
Oh, no, not that one.
Undo. Which one of these buttons is undo?
That's fine. The right hand side, it doesn't matter. Just the pick and the commit hash is all that's used. So add a new line,
Gotcha.
but then
Confirm model to work without query selector. I could easily fix this one as well.
Yeah.
Here we go. Nothing happened, but we need to remove those, right?
Yep,
Just
all those.
everything else. Yeah.
Whew, that was close.
Good old Nano. You can configure Git to open these kinds of things in VS Code.
Yeah, but have you ever done this in that never really worked out for me? Like that was a nightmare. Like if you have to deal with different windows and stuff, then
Yeah.
I don't know. Woohoo!
Let's do a quick Git log check to make sure it all looks good. All right.
that's right.
Yep.
Sweet.
Now it's a git push -u origin name of branch. This is where you don't do a slash and then yep. That one.
Gotcha.
Awesome. That was some pairing good stuff. Thanks
Absolutely.
so much, Yannick.
Last question, and then let you all off the hook. Anybody keen on being a reviewer on this, or are we all way too involved with this?
Oh yeah, I can't.
We're too deep, right?
You can send it to me. I'll merge
Gotcha.
it. Yeah. Yeah, that's fine. No, maybe we could just do the initial review on it, or whatever you prefer. It would be nice to have someone that wasn't here to maybe maintain or review it, but yeah.
So, yep. What about the initial review? Do we feel comfortable or not really?
It's actually just whatever you feel.
Andrew doesn't feel comfortable.
I think
Looks
this
like-
is an excellent MR for a reviewer to review and not a main.
Okay.
It's a good idea. Yeah, let's do it.
There's
Gotcha.
some fun learning opportunities in this one. I
So
think.
yeah, so I won't write up an MR description, just paste the link to Unfiltered.
Yes,
We'll see how that goes.
Exactly.
Awesome.
Unfiltered's gonna
Great.
reference this MR. All right.
Great.
Thanks so much, everybody.
fun.
This is so much fun. Thanks for going over. Appreciate this was great. And I'm glad we caught this and were able to fix it and had interesting discussion about the modal stuff. It's really productive. Thanks for bringing it up, Yannick. Lena, I'm glad that the RSpec tests are passing. I'm not gonna try and take credit for it. Because then I would be lying. All right.
Very last question. Is it cool if I assign all of us 3 MR?
Yeah, that makes
Sure
sense.
it is, right?
That's fine. All right.
Sweet. Awesome. Thanks for doing this. That was
Adios,
amazing.
everybody.
Have a great day. Bye.